Hello everyone, today I'll be covering a case study from IB Geography for the Resource Management Unit. This applies to paper 2. However, I believe this case study can also be used for HL topics because it covers geopolitical tensions a bit. So this is about the GERD Dam, the Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, and it dips into Nexus thinking as well. So what is the Nile? So the Nile is a major north-flowing river in northeastern Africa. It flows into the Mediterranean Sea. The Nile is the longest river in Africa and has historically been considered the longest river in the world, though this has been contested by research. So its major tributaries are the White Nile, located in Rwanda and Burundi, as you can see from the map there, and the Blue Nile, located in Ethiopia, specifically Lake Tana. However, the Blue Nile contains 85% of the water source. So why is the Nile so crucial and important to the Egyptian economy? Well, every aspect of life in Egypt depended on the river, even as far as the ancient Egyptian times. The Nile provided food and resources, land for agriculture, a means of travel, and was critical in transportation of materials for building projects and other large-scale endeavors. So the Nile River floods every year, leaving very rich silt behind, and therefore it allowed the farmers to grow many crops. For food security, you could think about it in that aspect. And again, it was also used for trade, transportation, for food, and other materials, so it was passed down by boat. And it was also for fishing, that's another food source, and 95% of Egyptians live within a few kilometers of the Nile. And the canals bring water from the Nile to irrigate farms and support cities. And it also has some really crucial, important cultural and religious ties with ancient Egypt, as I believe the country Egypt is called the gift of the Nile, as it is Egypt's lifeline. This is from the internet. Okay. So what's Egypt's problem with this dam, Egypt has referred to Ethiopia's dam as an existential threat, as the Arab world's most populous country relies almost entirely on the Nile to supply water for agriculture, and it's more than 100 million people. So they also fear that the dam will negatively impact the country's water supplies, as I said before, and the Nile water is also used to fill Lake Nasser, the reservoir for Egypt's own hydroelectric power plant. So this also dips it into energy security. Okay, so hence Ethiopia's ongoing construction of a dam, which already has been finished, has sparked protests from Egypt due to concerns about its potential disruption of the river flow. This disruption is anticipated to have a significant negative impact on Egypt's population, which relies heavily on the Nile for sustenance. Furthermore, the construction of this dam is expected to result in Egypt forfeiting nearly a third of the electricity generated by its Aswan High Dam. So, an introduction to the GERD Dam, since I have not brought that up yet. So, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Renaissance, when you think about the Renaissance period, you think of the birth of, new things. It's basically like that. So, it's under construction, it's already done, in the Beni Shangul Gumuz region of Ethiopia on the Blue Nile River, which is located 40 kilometers east of Sudan. The project is owned by Ethiopian Electric Power Corporation. So you get to see why it's so important to Ethiopia's energy security. So to bring that up again, the primary purpose of the dam is electricity production to relieve Ethiopia's acute energy shortage and to export electricity to neighboring countries. So again, this will be repetitive, but it will stick to your mind. Why does Ethiopia seek to construct the dam? Well, electricity is the first thing. Ethiopia hopes that the dam will lift people out of poverty. Since 60% of Ethiopians are living in darkness with no access to electricity, this dam could get about 60 million Ethiopians out of darkness. But on the other hand, 99% of the Egyptian population have access to electricity and clean water due to the presence of the Nile River. About 99% of Egypt's population is living along the Nile Basin, as I said earlier. And the economy. It is hoped this will eventually double Ethiopia's electricity output, which provides businesses with constant electricity supplies and boost development. So let's talk a little bit about the geopolitical tensions. So building a dam on the Nile has caused major geopolitical tensions in the region and has the potential to fuel dispute between countries on the banks of the river for many years to come. So a history about the Nile. So for thousands of years, Egypt has exerted political influence over the Nile, a dominance that was further reinforced by the period of British colonialism in more recent times. So to go further into that, Egypt justified its dominance over the river by citing a colonial-era water treaty and a 1959 agreement with Sudan, but Ethiopia does not recognize them, and when its former leader Mengistu Haile Mariam proposed building a series of dams on the Nile in 1978, he met thinly veiled threats. So how about now? However, Ethiopia's ambition is disrupting this dynamic of, the dominance and political influence over the Nile. Despite facing political challenges and limited freedoms, Ethiopia is striving to elevate itself to a middle-income country, necessitating increased access to electricity. Constructing Africa's largest hydroelectric power station and one of the world's largest dams is a pivotal step towards achieving this goal for Ethiopia. So this video covers this whole entire situation really well. So you could watch that. I'll put it in the description below. So currently the dam's construction concluded in July 2020. Please do not cite me on that. And shortly thereafter, the reservoir filling commenced amidst intense rainfall preceding the signing of an agreement between Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan. And in August 2020, the U.S. government, a significant aid provider to both Ethiopia and Egypt, announced its decision to suspend certain aid to Ethiopia, citing concerns regarding the unilateral advancement of the dam project. The U.S. has decided to cut $100 million in aid to Ethiopia amid the dispute. So, what about resolutions? Well, amidst a flurry of diplomatic negotiations facilitated by the African Union, discussions are fervently ongoing. Central to these deliberations is the quandary surrounding the timing and methodology for filling the dam. Although substantial progress has been made in reaching consensus on several fronts, pivotal questions regarding the modality and timing of dam filling, as well as the volume of water to be released, linger unresolved. Presently, Ethiopia has commenced the preliminary phase of dam filling, strategically aligning it with the onset of the rainy season. So how does it apply to Nexus thinking? So to debrief, Nexus, as a Google definition, means a connection or series of connections linking two or more things. So to be more specific with the water, food, energy nexus, it's an approach that aims to secure the supply of these resources by strengthening synergies and reducing trade-offs among these sectors. But this case study comes to show that there may be trade-offs. While Ethiopia might have their energy, Egypt might lose their food security. So this is a little 10 marker that I wrote on this. I just took a snippet of it. This is one paragraph. It's pretty long, but you could read it, and it actually covers and summarizes this whole entire case study pretty well. And I've highlighted really important words. Okay, so I think that's about it for this video. Thank you for watching.